Everyone says that you need a computer science degree in order to land a job as a software engineer, but I'm here to tell you that that's simply just not true. I skipped a degree and I landed a job in tech, and I've been working in tech for over 8 years now. Here's how I did it and how you can too. So if you're new, my name is Zazo. I've been working in tech for over 8 years, and I got my first software engineering job without having a computer science degree. I'm gonna give you some key tips and how I did it and some things that you can copy in order to do the same. The first thing is, I'm gonna tell you why I skipped the traditional computer science degree route. So fresh out of high school, I did not have good enough grades to get accepted into any type of college. And honestly, I come from a background where I didn't understand college and how to even apply. So that was very scary for me. So I just completely didn't do it altogether. I sent like 1 or 2 applications. I got denied. I didn't get in. Plus, I didn't really have the money nor the time at that point. I was getting out of high school and I had to get a job because tough times hit. So it was just me and my mom, and I was helping to support the household. So I didn't have any time for any extracurricular activities, basically. So I went and got me a 9-to-5 job, working overtime and all that type of stuff. However, what I did realize is I wanted to build things, and I wanted to build them fast and get paid for it without having to wait 4 years to get a degree in order to make any type of real money. And here's a spoiler alert for you. Employers care way more about what you can actually do rather than what your diploma says. So I'm gonna give you what I did instead. This is gonna be a mix between what I did and what I wish I'd done, right? So the first thing is pick one path. I did not necessarily pick one path when I started, but once I did pick one path, things became a lot clearer as far as my learning and where I wanted to go. The first thing I actually did was I chose web development. Back 10 years ago, whatever it was, right? Web development looked a lot different. It was just a straight HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I started learning those. What I will say is focus more on JavaScript and less on HTML and CSS. That I'm not saying don't spend any time, I'm just saying spend less time on that. Stick with JavaScript right now, React if you're going the web development route the way that I did. And the key to this is do not jump around. Stick with your path and stay there. So if it's AI, go down that Python route. If it's web development, like I said, JavaScript, React, one of those highly popular language or frameworks, you want to stick within there, and you want to get really good and not jump around too much. Find out what you want to do and choose that path and keep going down that path. So number 2 is you want to build real projects. So we're not doing, the theory that they'll teach you in college, or even the stuff that you'll see in the tutorials, the to-do lists, the weather app, the finance dashboards, that's personal expense trackers. So like I said, if you still need to learn coding, then those are great, those are fine. You're gonna have to start there at some point, but in order to actually go that next step of actually being a candidate to get hired in this field, you're gonna need to build real projects. So you want to build something that others can actually use or that solves some type of problem. So when you aim high like this and you create this product, essentially, even if it fails and no one uses it, it still serves as a great portfolio project, which you can speak very in depth to because it was your idea. And this also gets the employer to understand that you're a software engineer rather than just somebody who can write code. Like I give this example all the time, but what I made that really stood out was the stock intrinsic value calculator, which is basically just a DCF model, which is discounted cash flow that's used by a bunch of finance majors and all this type of thing to value certain assets. For me specifically, it was stocks. So I used a bunch of different skills here, and it solved a problem that I had because I was investing heavy at that point. So I needed something that could run these calculations over and over and over again. And this is something I built that could do that. This was something that really made me stand out across from all the other candidates, which eventually ended up with me landing my first software engineering job. So the next thing is you want to learn job ready tools. So this is Git, GitHub, APIs, databases. So I learned these tools very, very sporadically. What you want to do is you want to make sure you have a clear vision on what each of these tools are used for and how they're used in a production setting. I spent, for these, it took me a little bit longer because I was focused on actually building stuff, but you can learn these in probably around 2-ish weeks, right? Get comfortable with version control for sure. Know different, different how to pull, how to push, how to add things to staging area, all these different kind of commands, because you will be using these on a daily basis when pushing, retrieving code and things of that nature. So how I got noticed. So this one is how I would do it now. This is not actually how I got noticed. So how I got noticed was a little bit different. I essentially worked at the company that I wanted to be a software engineer at. And once I did that, I reached out to a bunch of different hiring managers in the technology department, and I essentially asked them what things would I need to know, and I essentially went hardcore into that. So if you're still in that, if you're in that weird situation where you can do that, I would definitely say try to reach out directly if you have a contact like that. I understand that that's not the norm. So I'm gonna give you what I would do if that was not the case for me. So what I would do is I would optimize my GitHub, make sure that everything is good. I have consistent commits. I'm pushing clean code and pushing that to my commits on GitHub. So you can see my little green boxes everywhere. I'm just kidding, but it does show that you're consistent and that you're consistently learning, you're consistently pushing code, you're active in the community or active in coding in general. A very good thing for employers to look at. So you essentially, the next thing you would do is kind of build your LinkedIn. Back then I was not using LinkedIn. Like I said, I had a very rare case, but what I would do now is make your LinkedIn your personal billboard. So your headline, make sure you have important things in there, pin projects, and an intro post that kind of shares your story and how you kind of got into it, and speak on the different things that you have built. Then you start applying, but not spam applying. You don't want to just easy apply. Don't do that, right? Focus on companies where you can show relevant projects, right? Or if you can't show relevant projects, think about the company that you want to work for and build something that would either be similar to what they do or something that could be integrated into what they do. That is just going to give you kind of like relatability, and you're able to say, well, I know your company does this, and this is a cool thing that I did to kind of mock up if, this would work in the company such and such and such. It's a lot more relatable if you can build things like that, because you can speak to how it would either help their business or how it coincides with the business that they're doing. Another thing that ties into this is just DM other devs that have work experience or that are working either at the company you want to work for or that just have more experience than you, and get kind of like some advice on how to go about different things. This is something that I did once I got into the company. I reached out to devs and they said what their job actually consists of. And that's kind of how I picked the team that I wanted to go. And then from there, I talked to the hiring manager and they were able to, give me a little bit more in depth on what they look for hiring. Whereas the devs gave me a little bit more information on what the day-to-day consists of. And once you kind of do that and you kind of get involved in the community and your name starts to ring bells and they can see your talent, then you might be able to actually get some referrals to the company and be able to sneak your way into maybe an interview, but you got to be ready. So the next one is going to be an explanation on why this works. So what hiring managers want is very simple. Can you do the job? So what you need to do is, from a hiring manager's point of view, can I look at this person and what they've done and be able to tell that they can do the job? Yes or no? And the easier you make that yes or no gives you such a better opportunity to landing that job. So your degree may be some type of shortcut to proving that you can do your job and you can build a project and that sort, but so can, your public proof of doing the same. And I don't weigh them equally, and I don't think hiring managers would either, because in the computer science realm, it is very hard curriculum compared to other curriculums. However, you're just building one aspect of being able to learning to code and building certain projects that were given to you. When you're doing it by yourself, you're able to think or go beyond just being able to do what you're told. And that means that you can work independently and you can actually solve these problems by yourself without being prompted or out being told. That's why it's a very important thing that even if you are going to school for computer science, you're working on your projects outside of the actual curriculum in theory that is going on in this degree. The difference is you want to show that you can do more than just study and that you can actually build real things and you can learn very quickly. That's what got me hired. I was able to build things that I could show on my resume and that I can learn fast in whatever type of environment. And I've kept that to this day, and I'm still going and learning in my journey. But that's the reason why I've been in tech for over 8 years, is because I've continued this same mindset and the same process of being able to build and being able to learn quickly and adapt. So if you're wondering, is it possible? Yes, it is definitely possible. Even, I would say, more possible now with all the technology that's going on and with an AI being able to just kind of skyrocket your growth and your knowledge even quicker. So don't think that you can't get into tech without a CS degree, because you can, but you gotta treat it like it's a job already. You can't slack, you can't be, coding one day and taking off the next day. And this is what I used to do, which wasted a lot of those earlier years for me because I didn't have a clear path and I wasn't working toward that clear path. Make a clear path, stick to it, start building real things, and get out there and start applying, right? Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll see you on the next one.